Welcome to episode 11 of the All Things All podcast. In this week's show, we talk about finances, and I'm happy to say Matt from ArbLease has joined us. How's it going, man?
How you doing, Tom? All right. Yeah, I'm very well, thanks. Yeah, and thanks for having me on your great show. Love the show. Been looking at it on YouTube. So I've got this squeaky chair. It's squeaking like bugger. I don't know what's going on with it. It's a really expensive chair I stole from our office, and for some reason it's squeaking today, but there we go. Yeah, nice to be here, Tom. Welcome, mate. Thanks.
Brilliant. So my first question for you is, how did you hear about the arboriculture industry?
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Let's take it back. All right, because I love the arb industry for a start. This is a 15-year story, so I don't know how much time you've got, but I was as in farm finance, still am. You know, our group company called Bond Capital, 70% of our turnover is still farm. So we've got a strong pedigree in in farm. But the arb came about. I was really just filling you in 1998, I think it was. Don't hold me to that. I was at a company called A.T. Oliver's in Wandon End in Luton, and one of my customers actually, who I still deal with today, I only did some more business with him last week on a Bandit wood chipper he's buying now. So obviously proper boys' toys. The wood chipper which we did in '98, this thing came in. It was orange, and it was this thing with what is that? And I had my wax jacket on, and I was talking tractors, and he said, "That's wood chipper." I went, "What's a wood chipper?" I got no idea. And at that time, the industry was still forestry as far as we were concerned at the banks. We didn't really understand it. We didn't get it. It was an industry that really hadn't hit our radar. And the rest is history, really. I looked at the kit, looked at the industry, and thought, you know what, this is going to grow, and this is a market. And I lived right next to Moulton College, and I'd spent a bit of time down there, educated some of the students, and realised that there were so many people signing up for, arboriculture, tree surgery. I thought this is where it's going to be at. So I took the company, and I said, well, I'm the other partners. I said, you focus on the farm, and I'm going to start a division in arboriculture, and here we are. So that's how we got into our
launch.
06.
So you've been in business since 2006, and you've
2006.
you rode the 2009 wave.
Yeah. It's been a colossal rise since 2006. It's been built out of passion and love for the industry. It really is. I've got a great team around me, and all we've done is immersed ourselves completely, and we're all in with arb. Literally, it's all myself and my team do. The farmer side, we leave them to it now. We don't even talk to them. They've got their own thing going on, and we focus purely on arboriculture. And we've learnt and got to know a hell of a lot of clients in the last 15 years, which still keep coming back month on month, which is great.
So for a newbie like me, what is ArbLease? Tell us about the process involved, because I've never had to lease any equipment. I've always been lucky enough to be in a position where I've been able to buy outright. I know nothing about this industry.
All right, so ArbLease is a company it's a finance company. We're a finance broker, and the concept of ArbLease is to make sure that our clients get all the information about the best machinery available in the marketplace. To confirm, we are 100% impartial. We are 100% arb. So we don't care what you buy as long as it's good quality. And what we found when we were educating the finance companies all those years ago, from 2006, because they were very nervous about lending into the arb industry, because they thought it was forestry. They thought, if we finance this wood chipper, we're going to have to go and find it in a wood somewhere in the Scottish hills, and we're never going to find it again because it is forestry. And still to this day, we're still educating a lot of the new lenders coming into the ground-based industry market about what arb is. And we found that a lot of the lenders were still very, very shy and very, very nervous about lending into the industry. So in about 2010, we went out to the market and started blocking. What that means is we buy money and we lend it out ourselves. And so what we're doing now, in the simplest of terms, is we managed to get some very rich people who have got far too much money, and they gave us a load of money to say, well, if you believe in the arboricultural industry, then we're quite happy to give you money to lend at very, very low rates if it is very, very low risk. So what we do now is we educate our customers if they're new start companies, and we're very proactive into making sure that we can get their kit financed, not only at the right rates, but with the right finance companies so that they can then grow their businesses. But the key word people get confused about is lease, because they think a lease is this off-the-shelf product, and I'm never going to own it, and I don't lease it, I want to own the kit. Well, a lease is a finance agreement. You know, it's
Right.
there's a million different leases out there. So the answer to your question is still quite complicated, but the point is ArbLease is a finance company, and you're spreading the cost of the kit. You'll always own it at the end, or own the value of it.
So how can a company utilise it in their business? Say they're looking to, we'll say, get a Timberwolf, because you're a bit of a Timberwolf fan from behind what I can see.
You know what? We're completely impartial, and this wolf I stole from Soltex in 2007. And when I locked down this office, I was trying to get some merch, because that's fundamentally a merch wall. If you look round here, you've got the Bandit cap, we've got the steel chainsaw. Dean at Bandit gave me a load of stuff here. Rob Nash at Schleesing has been threatening to send me a sign. I've got the John Deere cap from Ben Burgess. I've been begging merch from all the manufacturers, but they're so mean. They won't send me anything. Yes, so they all keep moaning about this wolf, but I'm saying, it's your own fault. Send me some stuff. It's for free. I'm vlogging for free. So, yeah, that's my complaint. So, send me one, all things Arb. Send me a sign, and I'll stick it up for you, mate.
Definitely, we'll get something down to. I tend to nick all of our stuff at the trade shows, walk out with umbrellas and banners.
No, you can do it all. But Timberwolf is a great product, yeah, and it was the first machine. And I love Timberwolf, but I also have equal love for Green Mech, Forst, Schleesing, Bandit, and all of the others, Jensen. You know, it's horses for courses, mate. But I'll tell you what, if it's a bad machine, ArbLease will not have it on the website, because we're buying this equipment at the end of the day, and you're spreading the cost, or the customer is spreading the cost over a fixed term, and at the end of the term, it's yours. You're just spending the cost. But in that interim, we're owning it. So if it's crap, if it's no good, if it's bad quality, we don't want to know. So you can guarantee on ArbLease, we have incredibly valued, trusted partners that we've worked with for up to 15 years. And Timberwolf's a great example. Green Mech also. The other chipper companies, going back to Dan Equip, you know, that's another great British brand that we've dealt with since the very beginning. Kim down there producing some great machines. I can go on. But if the machines are good quality, we always open our website up to those manufacturers, importers, and say, get it on ArbLease. Let us know. We'll make sure that the data is given to our client base, which is now up to nearly 7,000.
What does a business need to come to you guys with? Do you have to go through all of its accountants' work? Do you have to get money laundering things signed off? What's the process?
We're governed. Yeah, I mean, we're completely governed by the FCA. But the most important thing we do is work with the customers really closely. So I think gone are the days. Finance used to be this taboo subject that people said, "Oh, don't use finance. I pay for my kit for cash," and it used to be a taboo. Nowadays, that concept's gone. The car market completely destroyed that. You're not going out there and dropping 90 grand on a Land Rover. You're going out there and saying, "I can afford 600 quid a month. What can I have?" And the same concept has now gone through. And the facts are over 80%. In actual fact, last time I saw the stats, it was nearly 90, wasn't it? Yeah, 90% of kit is now financed. Cash purchases are gone. So, of course, that finance can be asset finance. It can be loans. It can be overdrafts. It can be many forms of funding. But finance is the industry or the medium that most people are using to fund metal now, machinery and vehicles. And we work with our clients to make sure they're getting the best price on the best machine, making sure that the kit is valued correctly. And with our experience now over 15 years and working with the finance companies to educate them in certain manufacturers and what certain kit does, they're often coming to us now saying, well, we've got this timber crane, not sure what the make is, how much is it worth, and can you help us sell that? And of course we'll step in and help all we can, because we protect our finance companies as much as we'll look after the clients.
So when I've heard about leasing in the past, it normally means you'll pay X amount for the machine per month. Now, if something goes wrong with that machine, who's responsible for it? Is it just general maintenance down to the the guy who's using it daily, or if
That's a
something's
great
really
point.
going wrong, like the engine's blown up? You
Yeah,
step
it's a
in.
great point. You know, and again, that's another great reason to finance, because if you buy an asset and it doesn't serve the purpose it's supplied to do, and this mustn't sound like you're going into Comet and getting this cover for your fridge, you know, the one that none of us want, you know, which will never ever pay out. What I'm talking about here is I'm talking about asset finance. We're buying that kit for you. So if it goes wrong and you're telling us you've serviced it properly, you've got it into the yard, you've towed this chipper out and it is not chipping wood, that is an MQ problem. You've got behind you not only us as the broker, but also possibly one of the biggest banks in the world saying, unless you sort it out, we're going to stop the payments and we want a full refund and we're going to unravel it, and so on and so on. So
it adds a real level of security then as well, doesn't it?
I mean, we're very passionate about protecting our book, because there's only so many banks left out there. You will notice that the high street's shutting down and some of the banks are getting bigger. So from our point of view, keeping the finance companies safe and our book clean with no arrears is very important. But at the same time, our clients need help when things go wrong. And most of the time with this industry, unless you're supplying good quality equipment, you don't last very long. Yeah. The industry won't let you. It's almost self-governed, really. And if something does go wrong, we know plenty of dealers and importers, and we work with over 300 dealers in a day, which again we work with closely to make sure that when there is a problem, it gets sorted out quickly, efficiently, professionally. And if the worst case scenario is the kit's swapped out for something that does the job.
Is there a maximum amount that you can lease over a period of time, or is it, well, you've got the collateral, you look like you're a good bet, here's $1 million, go get what you want?
Yeah, sure, Tom. Just send me 3 months bank statements in a set of accounts and I'll see what I can do. With the FCA now, we are regulated. There's a difference between regulated and unregulated business, but a lot of the business in ARB is regulated, at least half of what we do. And what I mean by that is the FCA protects the customer to make sure that the customer is safe. And it's our job to make sure that when we're lending money to these businesses, which is often a sole trader, and with respect to the tree surgery and arboricultural industry, it's full of small businesses. And we need to make sure that we're treating the customer fairly when we're lending the customer the money. So a lot of the time, we're working for the customer to get that finance agreed for that customer. If the customer hasn't been established long enough, or we need a bit more collateral, we'll work with that customer to make sure that we get the job done. But the key here is making sure that we're not lending somebody money who can't afford to repay it. 2 reasons. Yeah. It wouldn't be fair on that person, because then they get a bad credit history. And once you've got a bad credit history, you know, you can't even get a mobile phone on contract, as some people will know. So we need to be very, very careful with our customers' credit ratings, because of course that does us out of a job as well. Once they've got a bad credit rating, we're not going to lend you any money. So we need to protect the credit rating, make sure we don't overcommit clients, and make sure that we're responsible in treating the customer fairly.
So is ArbLease not like a one-fit-all business, but you work with sole traders all the way up to multinational firms?
It's a fantastic business like that. So we will lend money to any business, whether it's a sole trader, a partnership, a trust, a club, golf club, a limited company. But there's lots of advice I can give the tree surgeons and the ARB industry. And when one of the biggest parts of my advice is to say to people when they're first starting out, don't go crazy, you know, getting incorporated and doing all this limited company and everything else. What I would recommend you do is, if you can, first off, go out as a sole trader for the first couple of years, work professionally, work hard, don't be tempted by the cash, because cash won't help you borrow money, because you need to show that you can service the debt. You need to see the money going through the bank accounts, and we need to build up a good tax return, or if you produce a set of accounts, to show the lender, to prove to the lender that you can borrow the money and you can afford to pay it back. So again, we often find ourselves in a scenario where a customer will say to us, well, I can go to Tesco's and get a loan for 2%, and I can go to Sainsbury's and get a loan with my lettuce and it's much cheaper than you. And we'll always say, well, that might be true, but the difference here is our security is the chipper, and if you can't pay, we'll simply take the chipper away.
Yeah.
If you take a loan out with Tesco's or your clearing bank, they own you. You are the security. So it's a very, very different process. And of course, you'll soon exhaust those methods. So if you are a hobby merchant and you're not looking at growing your business, then of course it's very tempting. But all I do say to people, and it sounds ridiculous this, but can you see Richard Branson going down to Tesco's and getting his 2% loan over 2 years? Of course he doesn't. No.
Not nowadays, definitely.
It's professional funding for businesses is what we do, and we only do business finance. So you'll qualify for your finance if you're a business.
Yeah.
If you're comparing us with Tesco's, you're comparing two different products.
Have you seen an uptake in the last year and a half with like the seedless loans coming out? Because I already know a couple of tree surgeons who didn't need those types of loans but took them, and they've all got new shiny kits. But we all hope the tax man isn't listening to any of this. But have you, like, as money passed away, have you been able to see a growth in that area?
That's a great opportunity. No, I've got I've got a couple of clients that chose that. They've come back to me since. We've got a false sense of security, I think, at the moment in the ARB industry. Things are really busy. And everybody thinks this busy time is just going to continue and it's going to get busier and busier. But occasionally things happen that you're not expecting. And that loan, the bounce back loan, the C-bills and all those bits and bobs are really very useful. Certainly the bounce back loan, very great for working capital. And there's a big difference between working capital and machinery finance. And I don't want to come across as a business guru here, but if you manage to get 50 grand in a loan and a C-bills, I've not looked at these products, but the bounce back loan certainly is just a loan. You'd be better to keep that as your working capital or to invest it in something that actually makes money. Because believe it or not, whether you buy the best wood chipper in the world, it's just going to lose money. So if it was me,
all machinery loses money.
If it was me, I'd have got the 50 grand and bought some gold. Or bought something that goes up in value. From my point of view, you can finance your wood chipper. Bloody hell, you can do Timberwolf at 0%. So there's no beating that with any loan. So. No. The point is I've had to go back to these clients who have used their bounce back loans, and now we're refinancing their assets because they've run out of working capital. Mm-hmm. So we can always go back now. If you've bought something 3 months ago or so, we can now refinance it, even though you bought it for cash or did a loan, and you might be looking at the bank balance now going, oh God, I wasn't expecting that tax bill, or I wasn't expecting that VAT quarter, or I wasn't expecting that disaster. And then all of a sudden your working capital's gone now because you used the loan for what I class as the wrong reason. You used it to fund the wood chipper or the grinder or whatever else you bought. So it's about using the right thing for the right project. And sometimes the simplest, cheapest, fastest route is not always the best one.
Can leasing equipment and making your on-time payments increase your credit limit over the years? Will it have a positive impact?
That's a great question. And some people are like, oh, I've never financed anything and I've got an awful credit rating. Well, the truth is, when you finance something, we've got to make a judgment. And that judgment has got to be how good or bad your credit rating is. So if you have never had any finance, there's no way for the finance companies to judge whether you're good or bad, because you're a ghost. You don't exist. So that's a negative. What you're best to do, if you can, is get a credit card. Always pay it off at the end of the month, but get it going. Get your history going so you appear in the system. And once you've appeared in the system, the finance companies and banks can go, oh yes, there's Matt Potter. He's got 2 credit cards. He pays on the nose every month. He's a good boy. We'll lend money to him. So the answer to your question is yes, it's good to get your credit rating going, but I certainly wouldn't encourage you to get into debt.
Oh, good stuff. So what happens when you do miss a payment then? Say you're 6 months in, you've missed a handful of payments. Do you come round with Marco, start knocking on the door, and we'll go round the back and sort things out? Or is it a lot more politer?
No, not at all. I'm going to be honest with you, Tom. In 15 years, I've never repossessed anything. And the finance companies might have done, but I personally haven't.
Yeah.
I know that as a company, as a group, our arrears is less than 1%. And to give you an idea, our group does about 40 million a year we lend. And we've got less than 1% in arrears. Now, that might be because the vast majority of our business is still farm-based, and farmers are all, they all plead poverty, but they're all asset-rich, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
They
they
are
don't go wrong.
indeed.
But equally so, I know most tree surgeons would bite their own right arm off than sell their wood chipper. So, two options. The wood chipper's got to go. You can stick your arm in it. I'll stick my arm in it. So I think from my point of view, we don't repossess. But if you do fall foul on your payments and you get a bad credit history, then yes, it will bugger things up for you for a while. The best thing to do in an arrears situation, or a situation that you can't afford the payments, is to certainly not bury your head in the sand. Pick up the phone, speak to the finance companies. More often than not, it will put a payment arrangement in place which will stop you going into a default situation, keep your credit rating clear, and let you trade out of the problem, because that's what we want you to do. We don't want to repossess the kit. We want you to trade out of the problem and grow your business, and that's the key. Because although we've got at the moment, we've got 7 banks that we balance your book with, including our own money that I told you about earlier when we secured that 20 million to lend into ARB, and that's exclusive to ArbLease. So from our point of view, we want to keep those lenders happy, and we want to make sure that we educate you and help you get out of a sticky situation by altering your monthly payments to help you trade out of the problem. So we will be very proactive about trying to get you the best deal, and also very proactive about helping you during a difficult situation that you might find yourself in.
Brilliant.
Good
Matt,
days.
how can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about ArbLease?
So, in conclusion, ArbLease, you can see the website below maybe. If you can't see it on your screen, it's arblease.co.uk. We're a finance company. We'll finance new and used kit from any dealer in the UK. And for all of the reasons I've already discussed, you're in good company, because we'll value the kit. We'll make sure the dealer's of a certain standard. So if it does go wrong, we've got somewhere to go back to. If you're looking to locate the kit, get in touch with myself, Marco, Ben, Tim, Steve. We've got 300 dealers that we can access immediately, help you find kit, whether it's new or used, and immerse yourself with ArbLease. We don't charge anything for the facility. We get our commission from the finance company, and more often than not, it'll be cheaper to deal with ArbLease than go directly to the finance companies. So it's a win, win, win. And that's why 50% of our business every month is repetitive. Existing clients buy more stuff.
Brilliant. Matt, thank you very much for coming on the podcast.